I'll go into a little bit more detail of what that progression looks like as students go from 9th grade through 12th grade. Page 15, please. We've removed academic Algebra 1B and we've phased in Algebra 1B or geometry. And there's a little bit of an explanation of who takes what at what level of course as well. Page 16, please. We've phased in integrated science, so students will have to take a science course this year to fulfill the graduation requirement. Page 27 through 30. Mr. Shuey in the art department restructured a little bit of the art courses here. He added fundamentals of art. This is an intro class to both 2D and 3D media. We renamed Painting 1 to Studio Painting and Painting 2 to Advanced Studio Painting. We're phasing out Cultural Crafts, Fine Arts 1, Fine Arts 2, and Digital Arts and Photography 2 for two reasons. One, sometimes students don't sign up for those courses for an extended period of time, and also some of those concepts are built into some of the other courses that Mr. Shuey in the art department teach. Page 42, please. Through 47. So these changes reflect the new math progression that we're phasing in. There have been several changes among the math department led by Mrs. Bariana, Mrs. Crucial, myself, Dr. Bali, and Mr. Pine, and Dr. Stoker as well, so thank you for that. There have been several changes for the math sequencing for next year. The new sequencing will have all regular education incoming 9th grade students taking either a single or double credit Algebra 1 class. Both of these classes will be trigger courses. The double credit class will run for a full year and will have built-in remediation for lower level students. Sophomore year, all students will take a geometry course. Junior year students will take academic Algebra 2 or Algebra 2 course with built-in remediation for students who did not pass the Keystone exam. Sorry, did I go too fast?
Nope, you're fine.
Page 50, please. With the research of Mrs. Wilder and the science department, we've also integrated and made some changes within our science department as well. Science updates include the updates to the high school science curriculum will reflect the scope and sequencing of districts in Lehigh and Carbon counties. A lot of these schools are also high performing within their science departments. It will also give our students the chance to learn all performance expectations in the STEEL standards as required by Pennsylvania's Department of Education and align with the Bulldog Academy. A synopsis of the updates are as follows. 9th grade. 9th graders will take environmental science will absorb ecology concepts and include environmental literacy and sustainability STEEL standards. This will be a prerequisite for biology.
This is not the most, I had to change it today, and I'm sorry, because I think I emailed you it, but it didn't.
Well,
So,
we don't change it for this meeting because it was already published, but we can change it for the board meeting.
So ecology and cell processes is fading out. We're going to rename that class environmental science to align better with the STEEL standards, am I correct?
Correct.
Okay, so what you see there with the ecology, if you scroll up a little bit, 9th grade, the students coming into 9th grade will be choosing between environmental science, academic environmental, or honors environmental. Correct? You want to speak to that a little bit?
Yeah, so all we're trying to do here is make room for the environmental standards that we currently don't have in place in our whole 9th to 10th grade, like ecology to biology sequencing. So what we're going to do is we're going to include those environmental literacy and sustainability standards along with the ecological concepts in 9th grade. We'll put those cellular concepts in 10th grade with the rest of bio, which is like DNA, RNA, evolution, all that stuff. And at the end of that bio course in 10th grade, students will take the Keystone.
Thank you. So sorry, I just wanted to step in.
No problem.
That was not changed, and that will be. That's not how it will look. We will be phasing the name out.
And then the 11th, so you already mentioned Mrs. Wilder?
Give me a
Doctor yet? 10th grade biology will be the 10th grade science course within the Keystone State Assessment will be administered at the close of that course, and then 11th grade, 11th graders will have access to physical science requirement for all students with the options of fundamentals of chemistry, chemistry 1, physics, and integrated science.
And this is more in line with what other districts do. We were doubling up most of our kids, actually all of our students were done with their 3 credit requirement for graduation by the end of 10th grade. So this, when we moved environmental into 9th grade 2 years ago, we knew that 11th grade year, so the current sophomores going to be juniors next year, we're going to have to take a 3rd and a final credit. Most of them will continue on and take a 4th, some will take a 4th or 5th credit. It depends on their pathway for their career, but we added integrated science in as more of an applied physical science type of course, and then those that are more college bound or more academically focused will go more into the chemistry or the physics realm.
And
Any-
that concludes the high school's program of studies.
Any questions on the program of studies? So there's some significant changes in the realm of science, art, and math.
Yes.
Not hearing any questions with those changes that Mrs. Crucial described. Are we okay to move that version to the board agenda for approval on Monday evening? Okay. Again, this is a guide that may come back again because at the high school we are looking at the schedule. We are looking at the idea of community lunch or lunch and learn, you may know it by. So we may come back with some additional things that we may need to edit this, but it's very important that we get this done in February because we do like to start scheduling in March at the high school level. Okay. And then Mr. Kern, are you?
I'm good.
All right.
I made my schedule switch.
All right, thank you.
I do have a question for Lunch and Learn. So we're looking at approval of this from the board level, or what's our process, I guess is what I'm asking.
For the program of study?
Yeah, for Lunch and Learn.
So
Oh, well, let's finish that up first. How
Yep,
about
so
we
the
do that?
program of study will go to the board meeting on Monday night for approval, so
Okay.
we can start to schedule students because now
And we're good with the changes, right, correct? Okay, go ahead.
Because now these will exist as courses on the high school schedule for 24-25.
Right.
If we come back again in the spring, like around May, when we do the handbooks, it would be to approve the concept of lunch and learn and what that structure would look like as
Okay.
part of the program of study.
All right.
Okay. And Mr. Kern did say that he was able to adjust his schedule. He's going to be on that trip for the high school's taking another group out to Central Bucks East to take a look at the lunch and learn. So this will be our second round of visits. If anyone else on the board is interested in going to visit that to see what that concept looks like, you're certainly welcome to. If you're not able to join, we completely understand. We are going to try to come back potentially next month. There's some video clips that we can show of what that looks like, not necessarily from Central Bucks, but from some other school districts that are doing that. Okay? All right. And then Mrs. Dada.
Boy, you don't hear from me for a long time, and then I'm here over and over and over again. So, unfortunately, I received a letter about a month ago, if that Frontline, which is our IEP writing system that houses all of our IEPs and all of those special education documents, will be ending and discontinuing that product starting June 30th. So I quickly put together a team, one teacher from each building, including a school psychologist, myself, and the TOSA, the teacher on special assignment, and we viewed 2 different demos from 2 different companies. One was IEP Writer and one was Power School's special programs. Now, if you remember, Power School is our student information system that we already use, okay? After those 2 demos, the committee unanimously picked the special programs because it integrates a lot less problems with going at night. At night, all of our information, student information, would go to Frontline, and then there would be errors, and then we'd have to go in and fix. And there was some issues with that. However, it was cheap. Okay, I see why they went out of business, because here's our new cost per year, unfortunately. Now, the startup cost of, first of all, I did get $4,000 off of them. I told you I wasn't gonna settle for what they came back with. So this is the bottom line though. $32,477 for the first year. Now, that includes them going into all of Frontline's data, all of our IEPs, all of our NORPs, and all of that information, and downloading the last 7 years and putting it into Power School Special Programs, which is huge because 7 years ago we started Frontline. It was actually called eStar at the time. So we will be able to take all of our electronic documents and move them into this system. That came with $17,000, was part of that 32. Okay, that's a one-time cost, never going to have to do that again. The other big cost was the professional development, which with this program, it's split up into a lot of different portions. For instance, we have the IEP part, the 504s that students would qualify for, and the gifted, and then this also includes the electronic signature. So Frontline also did all the electronic signatures for us as well. So that is all of those for $9,600 a year. Okay, but with all of that, I'm going to have to train everyone, all the guidance counselors and everybody that deals in all of those, and that was, is $9,500. So that's part of that $32,000. Okay, is the training, all the implementation of all the products, and all of that document transfer, as well as 1 year. Okay, second year will be $9,600 from there on. Does anybody have any questions?
I have a question.
Yes.
Will this, because you're going into the Power School Special, will this be, they'll be able to see the SDIs
Yes.
on a nice little
Yes.
doc?
So, all of our regular ed teachers will be able
My number
to.
one
So,
request. That's a good thing.
Yes, all of our regular ed
Much better.
teachers, through the scheduling process, will automatically actually even get an email. So when they have a new or revised IEP, all of those teachers that have contact with that student will get an email that says, hey, Johnny has a new IEP and here are his specially designed instructions and here's his revisions. They can also sign off electronically on that because right now they have to go down to the guidance office and actually hand sign all the IEPs.
As a
It's so much
as a
better.
teacher and an administrator that had both of these had this in Power School, it is so much easier and convenient. It's right there.
Yep.
One login, you have it all.
It also means you can just go back and look as
Correct.
a teacher
Right.
as well, instead of, did I write that correctly? Go back down to the guidance office and
Yeah,
redo.
too
and-
much.
Yeah.
Even with they usually get a little cheat sheet now with the SDIs.
And they have an IEP
Right.
at a glance,
Yeah,
which gives
Yes.
them that cheat
yeah,
sheet.
okay.
Oh, it does.
And 504s.
So much more user-friendly from an educational standpoint.
I mean, imagine having 6 special ed students in your classroom and you have to meet all their special design instructions and keep it all in one place. I mean, it just makes it very convenient.
Yeah, it's so much more, and again, in line with what a lot of other districts do,
Uh-huh.
so, yeah, much better,
Yeah, smart.
much better, yes.
Any questions? Okay, I'm excited. It's just going to be a lot because we gotta have it ready to go by June 30th. Are we in favor of moving it to the board agenda?
We're good.
Okay,
There you go.
thank you very much.
Anybody have anything else for the education committee meeting? Any questions? We're good?
Moved very well, thank you.
I will close the meeting. We'll go open up to policy.
Best meeting of the night.
Hell of a meeting, Dale, I love it.
So I'm proud to say, according to the agenda, there are no recommended policy updates at this time. So as much as I opened it, I am going to close policy tonight and turn it over to Mr. Chrisman for community relations.
We'll be back next month.
So we'll open it up to the second best policy of the night,
Do you have to go?
and we'll send it to Dr. Lynn.
Thank you, Mr. Chrisman. Mostly just informational pieces tonight. Earlier in the month, we had our Northern Lehigh Education Foundation meeting. They are continuing to seek new officers for the Education Foundation, as some of the ones that have been in officership roles since the start of the foundation are looking to step down, but not to step entirely away. They just feel it's time to step back from, president, treasurer, and secretary. So they are seeking new officers. I am happy to share that there were a number, probably about 5 or 6 new faces at the table that night, and some of them said they may be interested in taking on some of those leadership roles. People that have children in multiple buildings throughout the district. So we're excited to see that progress there. They are also exploring a capital campaign kind of to run parallel to the foundation's work, not so having a small dedicated group of people to come in and help get a capital campaign up and running, but not necessarily to have that group be a permanent fixture of the foundation, just until they hit their goals and then they kind of move on. And finally, the next meeting for the foundation is February 29th at 7 p.m. in this room here, and it is welcome to everyone, open to everyone, and if you know anyone that would like to serve in some capacity other than an officership, to serve in an officership role if they are not an employee of the district, but to serve in any service role if they are an employee of the district or just a community member.
What time was that again?
That is at 7 p.m.
7
on
p.m.
February 29th, because there is a February 29th this year. Any questions on that? Okay. Next, as advertised in our new digital sign out there, the Northern Lehigh Little Theater is happy to present and excited to present the Footloose musical. Those dates are March 14th, 15th, 16th, and 17th. Adult tickets are $15, and student and senior citizen tickets are $12. There is a link right on the district website that you can click on to go into purchase a ticket online. Any questions on that? Okay. Last Friday morning, we hosted the Greater Northern Lehigh Chamber of Commerce here. There was approximately 22 different members there representing local businesses, local government, and nonprofits. Special guest Tony Ainelli, he is the president and CEO of the Lehigh Valley Chamber of Commerce, who was in attendance and provided updates on chamber-wide events and work towards their mission of supporting business and nonprofits in the Lehigh Valley. This is the second time that we've hosted the chamber. We like to host them once a year. We started doing this last year with the idea that every year they fund a scholarship to one of our graduating seniors. So just kind of a way to say thank you for their support back to our students that are looking to explore higher education. And they said they would be getting that information out to you, Mrs. Crucial, in the near future. Kind of two highlights this year. One, I don't know if any of you have ever met or attended a meeting with Tony Ainelli, but he is
very
pure energy. And he called in to, I guess every Friday he participates in a podcast from the Lehigh Valley with Love group. And so we were highlighted for a short segment in that podcast there. And then I would say the greatest highlight was two of our students who you all know, our senior representative to the school board, Victoria Hanna, and our junior representative to the school board, Jayla Cook, so each month I usually give an update on district happenings to the chamber. This month they gave it, and the chamber was blown away about what they reported on, primarily from our high school student body as a whole, all the things that we've been doing there, in the sports, in the arts, and academically, but then also each student shared a little bit about themselves, and it was one of those, proud superintendent moments. And
They articulated very well.
They
were very impressive.
Very well. And after they each left, several board members came up, or several of their board members came up to me and just said how impressed they were with our two students.
Yeah, Victoria stayed for the entire meeting, and the podcast was with Bobby Gunter Walsh.
Yes, thank you. And that concludes my updates for the Community Relations Committee. Is there anything else that anybody would like to bring up?
I would just add, coffee and conversation is Wednesday the 7th, 6 p.m. at the middle school. Mr. Stroll will be making gourmet cafe lattes for everyone in attendance.
Barista.
Can I also add that this evening started our adult ESL classes again for the spring semester. They'll be held on Mondays throughout the spring, right upstairs in Slatington Library. So we have one of our ESL teachers teaching the parents, and we have one of our paraprofessionals in the district working with the students to continue to work on proficiency in English. So that is happening throughout the spring.
Thank you, Dr. Stoker.
Anybody have anything else?
Good job.
All right, I guess we'll close it out and call it a night.
Thank you, everyone.
And you made your 7:35 on it.
Dave.